Have you ever felt a sudden burst of motivation, that unstoppable energy where you tell yourself, "This time, I'll change everything," only to wake up the next day and feel completely flat? You're not lazy, and there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is simply doing what it's designed to do. You see, motivation isn't this magical force that just appears when we need it. It's not some switch you can turn on with enough positive thinking or coffee. It's actually a biological process, a dance between chemistry and psychology, between desire and reward. Scientists now know that motivation lives deep within your brain's reward system, and it decides what's worth your energy and what's not. But here's the real shocker. Most of us have been using motivation backwards. In this video, we'll explore how motivation truly works, why it disappears when you need it most, and how you can rewire your mind to create lasting drive. By the end, you'll know how to make motivation work for you, not against you. Let's start with one of the biggest myths, that you need motivation before taking action. In reality, science says it's the opposite. Your brain doesn't reward you for thinking, it rewards you for doing. Think about those gym shoes sitting by your door. You tell yourself, "I'll go when I feel like it." But that feeling never comes because motivation isn't the trigger. It's the result. Dopamine, the brain chemical responsible for motivation, doesn't release when you think about working out. It releases when you start moving. The simple act of putting on those shoes and stepping outside sparks a dopamine hit that tells your brain, "This feels good. Let's keep going." Waiting for motivation is like waiting for fire before you strike the match. The flame only appears after friction, after action. Now let's dive deeper into dopamine, your brain's motivation currency. Most people think dopamine equals pleasure, but that's not quite true. Dopamine is all about anticipation. It's the excitement your brain feels when it expects a reward. That's why you keep checking your phone for notifications. Every ping feels like a possible reward. Over time, your brain becomes hooked on these cheap dopamine hits, quick bursts from social media, snacks, or entertainment, while losing interest in meaningful goals like learning a new skill or improving your fitness. The problem? These instant rewards train your brain to crave short-term pleasure instead of long-term satisfaction. It's like feeding your brain candy instead of nutrition. It feels good in the moment, but it weakens your ability to stay driven for the things that actually matter. Psychologists even created a formula to explain this. Behavior equals expectancy times value divided by impulsiveness times delay. It's called the temporal motivation theory. In simple terms, the more you expect to succeed and the more you value the outcome, the higher your motivation. But when the reward feels far away or you're easily distracted, your drive collapses. That's why you might say, "I'll start studying tomorrow." The reward, a good grade, feels too distant to excite your brain today. Your brain discounts future rewards, preferring immediate gratification. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's just poor timing in your brain's reward system. Understanding this changes everything. Instead of fighting procrastination with guilt, you can outsmart it by breaking goals into smaller, quicker rewards, shrinking the delay, and boosting your brain's sense of expectancy. Here's something fascinating. Emotion doesn't create action. Action creates emotion. There's a concept in psychology called behavioral activation. It means that even small actions can flip your emotional state. Imagine sitting in front of a blank page, dreading that essay or project. The thought of starting feels impossible. But the moment you type just one sentence, something shifts. Your brain releases dopamine, a small reward that whispers, "You're doing it." That micro-win builds momentum. Suddenly, your mood improves and motivation follows. The secret is to stop waiting for inspiration to strike. Take one small step. Open the laptop, lace the shoes, clean one corner, and let your brain catch up emotionally. The energy you're waiting for only appears after you move. But not all motivation is created equal. Psychologists talk about two types, extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic motivation comes from outside rewards, recognition, or pressure. It's useful, but it fades fast. Intrinsic motivation, on the other hand, comes from within, from doing something because it feels meaningful or aligns with who you are. According to the self-determination theory, lasting motivation depends on three things: competence, autonomy, and relatedness. In other words, you stay motivated when you feel capable, when you have control, and when your actions connect you to something bigger than yourself. For example, you might start running to lose weight, an external goal. But over time, you keep running because it makes you feel alive and confident, an internal reason. The deeper your why, the longer your drive lasts. Your environment also plays a massive role in shaping your motivation. The brain is context sensitive. It takes cues from your surroundings. That's why it's so hard to focus in a cluttered, noisy room. Your mind associates that space with distraction, not productivity. This is where the habit loop, cue, routine, reward comes in. If every time you sit at your desk you scroll through social media first, your brain links that environment to mindless browsing. But if you design your space intentionally, tidy desk, minimal noise, visible goals, your brain starts associating that same cue with focus and accomplishment. The trick is to make good habits obvious and bad ones invisible. Your motivation doesn't just live in your mind. It lives in your surroundings. And let's not forget the energy factor. Motivation is chemistry, and chemistry needs fuel. When you're exhausted, undernourished, or sedentary, your dopamine system can't function properly. That's why after a poor night's sleep, scrolling TikTok feels rewarding, but doing real work feels unbearable. It's not that you don't care. Your brain literally can't want things when it's tired. Exercise, good nutrition, and consistent sleep aren't just for physical health. They're tools to boost your brain's motivation circuits. A 10-minute walk, a proper breakfast, or a good night's rest can do more for your motivation than any motivational quote ever could. Quick question. What's one thing you've been putting off because you don't feel motivated? Drop it in the comments below. You might be surprised how many people feel the same, and just writing it down might give you the small push you need to start. Now, here's a deeper truth: motivation grows from identity, not goals. When you say, "I'm trying to exercise," your brain hears uncertainty. But when you say, "I'm an active person," your actions begin to align with that identity. Neuroscience shows that your self-image influences your habits more than your intentions. It's the difference between acting out of obligation and acting out of identity. If you see yourself as a reader, you'll naturally read. If you see yourself as someone who values growth, you'll seek challenges. Identity isn't something you earn after success. It's something you decide before success. Every small action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. So how can you use all this science to build lasting motivation? Here's the formula. Start tiny, reward yourself immediately, and repeat. The smaller the task, the less resistance your brain feels. When you reward yourself right after completing it, maybe with your favorite song, a short break, or even a mental nice job, your brain links that behavior to pleasure. This is reinforcement learning, and it's how habits are wired into your nervous system. Over time, your brain begins to crave the act itself, not just the reward. That's when motivation becomes self-sustaining. You no longer force yourself to do the work, your brain wants to do it. So, what does this all mean? Motivation isn't magic. It's a system, a feedback loop of action, reward, and identity that constantly evolves. You don't wait for motivation. You build it. One small step, one dopamine hit, one identity shift at a time. Remember, the brain rewards consistency more than intensity. Even a 2-minute effort is proof that you're showing up. That's the spark that lights the fire. So, the next time you catch yourself saying, "I don't feel motivated," remind yourself, action before motivation. That's the rule your brain lives by. If this video helped you understand your mind a little better, drop a comment saying action before motivation to let others find it too. And if you love exploring the hidden science behind human behavior, hit that like button and subscribe to The Curious Lens for more weekly insights into the mind. Because understanding yourself isn't just knowledge, it's power.